Harvey wiped his calloused hands on his worn trousers for the third time in as many minutes. The cafe on Station Centaura 7 was far too fancy for someone like him, a dock worker who spent his days hauling cargo containers in the lower decks. But his son had been insistent. "Dad, you need to get out more," Marcus had said, setting up this blind date through some interspecies social network Harvey didn't understand. "She's a diplomat's assistant. Very cultured, just ... Try, okay?" Harvey had agreed only because he saw the worry in his son's eyes. At 47, widowed for 5 years, Harvey had let himself become a ghost, working double shifts, sleeping in his cramped quarters, existing but not living. Marcus deserved better than a father who had given up. The cafe's entrance chimed, and Harvey's breath caught. She was Valkyrian, one of the insectoid species from the outer rim, 7 feet tall, with iridescent carapace that shimmered like oil on water, for graceful arms, and compound eyes that reflected the station's artificial lights like galaxies. She wore flowing diplomatic silks that somehow made her alien form elegant rather than intimidating. Ambassador Alisa Cartana, not an assistant, an actual ambassador. Harvey stood so quickly he nearly knocked over his chair. "You must be Harvey," Alisa said, her voice a melodious hum produced by the translator collar at her thorax. "Please, sit." "I apologize for the deception. My profile indicated assistant, because few humans respond positively to ambassador on social platforms." Harvey's mouth had gone dry. "Ma'am, ambassador, there's been a mistake. My son, he set this up, and I thought that you were meeting someone appropriate for a dock worker's income and station." Elisa's mandibles clicked in what Harvey's translator interpreted as amusement. "Yes, I know. I read your entire profile, Harvey Chen. 3 decades on cargo docks. Widowed, 1 son studying xenobiology at the academy and scholarship. You worked for years of double shifts to help supplement. Hobbies include fixing things and reading old Earth novels." She settled into the reinforced chair across from him with surprising grace. "I found you fascinating." "Fascinating," Harvey echoed weakly. "Ambassador, I think you want someone more educated, wealthy, politically connected." Elisa's smaller arms gestured dismissively while her primary arms folded on the table. "Harvey, I have spent 30 years in diplomatic circles surrounded by such individuals. They are tedious. Their conversations are calculated. Their interests are strategic. When I read that you spent your last vacation day repairing a broken water recycler in the lower decks because the station maintenance kept forgetting that sector existed, I knew you were different." Harvey felt heat rise to his face. Someone had to. Families were living without clean water. "Exactly." Elisa leaned forward. "Do you know what I do, Harvey? I negotiate treaties between species that have warred for centuries. I broker trade agreements that affect billions. And do you know what I've learned?" Harvey shook his head. "That the finest individuals in the galaxy are rarely found in council chambers. They're in the docks, the farms, the engine rooms, places where real work happens and genuine compassion exists." Her compound eyes seemed to soften. "Tell me about your wife." For the next hour, Harvey forgot about their differences. He told Elisa about Sarah, about their modest apartment on old Earth, about her laugh, about how cancer had taken her too soon. Elisa listened with an intensity that made him feel truly heard for the first time in years. In turn, she spoke of her own Lasusa partner killed in a border skirmish, the loneliness of diplomatic life, the exhaustion of being constantly on in a role that demanded perfection. "You understand," she said softly, "the weight of continuing when you'd rather stop." "Yeah," Harvey replied, "I do." When the cafe began closing, they'd barely noticed the time passing. As they stood to leave, Elisa's primary right hand gently touched Harvey's shoulder, a gesture of respect in Valkyrian culture. "Harvey, I must tell you something. I came to this station on assignment, but also with authority to select a human cultural liaison, someone to help the Valkyrian diplomatic corps better understand human nature beyond politics and economics. The position offers full diplomatic status, a substantial salary, and living quarters in the embassy sector." Harvey stared. "Ambassador, I'm not qualified." "You are the most qualified person I've met," Elisa interrupted firmly. "My people don't understand humans. They see your wars, your conflicts, your inefficiencies. They don't see your compassion, your resilience, your capacity for sacrifice. I need someone who embodies what humanity truly is, not the polished facade diplomats present, but the genuine article. But I'm just a dock worker. You're a father who worked himself to exhaustion for his son's education, a man who fixes water recyclers for strangers, someone who loved deeply and continued living despite grief. That's not just anything, Harvey. That's extraordinary." She paused. "And personally, I would very much like to see you again. Not as Ambassador Elisa and Liaison Harvey, but as to people who understand loneliness and might become something more. Harvey's mind reeled. 6 hours ago he'd been hauling cargo. Now an alien ambassador was offering him a position that would change his life and, possibly something even more valuable. He thought of Marcus, would be thrilled. Of Sarah, who had always pushed him to take chances. Of the years he'd spent just existing. I don't know the first thing about diplomacy, Harvey said finally. Neither did I, once Elisa replied. I learned, more importantly, you know about humanity, the real kind. You know about fixing what's broken and helping who's forgotten. That's the diplomacy the galaxy needs. Harvey took a deep breath. When would I start? Elisa's mandibles clicked again, definitely amusement this time. Eager, terrified, Harvey admitted. But my son would kill me if I passed this up, and ... He met her alien eyes and found them somehow familiar. I'd like to see you again too. Then let's begin tomorrow, Elisa said. Tonight, perhaps a walk. The observation deck has a beautiful view of the nebula. As they left the cafe, together worn dockworker and an elegant Ambassador Harvey realized that sometimes the universe's greatest opportunities came from the most unexpected blind dates, and sometimes being human was exactly the qualification required. Behind them, unnoticed, Marcus watched through the cafe window, tears streaming down his face as he saw his father smile genuinely for the first time in 5 years. Some things, he thought, were worth setting up profiles for.